My beloved child, I have stopped raising my voice to warn you since yesterday, because I know that the words I once spoke, you no longer hear. Last night I simply stood there, silently watching your body fall apart, your breath become broken, your soul grow weary like a cord pulled too tight. You are about to be hospitalized, not because of some new disease, but because of the very things you have long known, yet chosen to ignore. You have been wearing yourself down, little by little, like someone who drills holes in the roof and still expects to find shelter from the rain beneath it. When you wear down your own body, you are cracking the temple of God. Your body is not a tool for you to wring dry, nor is it a place to store all your unrestrained habits. It is the place I have chosen to dwell, the temple I have built with my breath, with my love, with the price of my Son's blood on the cross. Every time you make light of your body, you are refusing the very dwelling place I have chosen to be with you. Do you know that from the beginning, I did not create you to exist like a breathing corpse? I breathed into you a living spirit so that body, mind, and spirit might become one whole. They are bound together like three strands woven into a single sacred cord. If one strand is broken, the whole cord is weakened. When you throw yourself into work until exhaustion, when you trade away your sleep to chase after things that quickly fade, when you fill your body with what causes it to decay, you are not only harming your health, you are fracturing the very place where I dwell. The tiredness you are naming is not merely physical. It is the cry of a temple falling into disrepair, with cracked roof, leaning walls, and your soul sitting in the ruins asking me, why do I feel so far from God? But my child, I have never left. It is you who have pushed me out with your indifference toward the very body I entrusted to you to keep and care for. Remember the story in the Book of Kings about King Asa, who had once been blessed by me, but in the end died in sickness, for even in his disease he did not seek the Lord, but sought help from physicians. 2 Chronicles 16:12. Asa was not wrong to seek treatment, but he was wrong to turn away from me in his pain. You see, the sickness of the body is not only a physical matter, it is also a warning that the spirit is drifting away from the source of life. Today, you are the same. You turn to medicine, to the gym, to coffee and fleeting entertainments to lift your spirit, and you forget that it is I who heal from the root. It is not the pill but my word that makes your bones flourish again. It is not temporary distraction but my presence that brings true rest to your heart. Do not wait until your body collapses before you realize that you have been neglecting the most sacred temple I have entrusted to you. The things that destroy you do not come like a storm. They come like a long, steady drizzle. A cup of coffee in place of breakfast, one more late night of just a little longer, a burst of anger left unresolved, a prayer postponed because you are too busy. Bit by bit, they gnaw at your soul like tiny cracks in the sacred foundation. You think it is normal, but in truth, it is the alarm bell I have rung in the middle of your temple. I see you sitting in the darkness of night, exhausted yet still forcing a smile. You are fighting against your own body, against the pressures you have wrapped around yourself. But I ask you, how long do you intend to squeeze my temple dry? How long will you keep working until you forget that you are supposed to live? My child, this body is not a slave to ambition. It is an instrument I have placed in your hands to serve, love, and to fulfill your mission. You cannot offer me a withered body and a drained soul and still expect me to work miracles. Miracles do not spring from depletion. They take root in surrender, in rest, and in honoring the very place where I dwell. My child, your body, your mind, and your spirit are one unified whole that I have skillfully woven together. Every cell, every breath, every heartbeat has been placed exactly where it belongs so that they may function in harmony. Nothing in you is random. When I created you, I did not think only of your outward form, but also of your feelings, your soul, and your capacity for relationship. I did not create you to race against time, but to live in the rhythm of grace. Yet you have turned your body into a machine running without rest, consuming without replenishing. You think that as long as your spirit is strong, it does not matter if your body is weak. But you are mistaken, for this very body is the instrument through which I reveal my glory. When your body is exhausted and your mind is in chaos, your soul cannot hear my voice. When you drive your body to the point of collapse, you are cutting the cord that connects you and me. My child, do not make light of the signs of fatigue. Every ache, every racing heartbeat, every hidden tear is my gentle warning to you. Stop, rest in me. I do not rebuke you for being weak. I only grieve when I see you refuse to rest in my embrace. For in me there is peace, restoration, and living water that flows to nourish your body, your mind, and your spirit. Do not wait until your body falls apart to remember that I did not create it to be beaten by ambition, but to carry the light of heaven. My dear child, I do not want to see my temple in you crack and crumble. I only want you to understand that slowing down is not retreat, it is returning. Resting is not weakness, it is obedience. Caring for your body is not selfishness, it is guarding the place where I dwell. For when you learn to honor your body, your mind, and your spirit, you are cleansing the sanctuary, so that I may step in, lay my hand upon you, and declare, "Peace be to you." My temple, how long has it been since you truly paused to listen to your own body? The heavy heartbeat, the shallow breath, the eyes that have lost their old brightness, all of these are trying to say something, but you do not listen. The world teaches you that you must push harder, endure more, keep going even when you are falling apart. But I tell you, rest in my peace. True strength does not lie in gritting your teeth, but in the ability to stop and let me restore you. The body is not merely flesh, it is the place I have chosen as my dwelling. Every cell, every breath, every drop of blood in you bears my imprint. When you make light of it, when you exhaust yourself, when you turn your body into a tool for passing ambitions, at that very moment you are abandoning the sacred temple I entrusted to you. Do not forget that my dwelling place is not only the church building, it is the human being, body, mind, and spirit, woven into one. I once watched my prophet Elijah, who called down fire from heaven and brought false gods to their knees, and yet became exhausted, afraid, and wished to die. I did not scold him, I simply sent an angel to touch him and say, "Get up and eat." Twice I did that, just so he would understand. Even the strongest need to be nourished and to rest. A weakened body is not a sin, but refusing rest is self-destruction. In the same way, when you ignore your limits, I am not wrathful. I am sorrowful that you have forgotten how to live by grace instead of exhaustion. There are cracks in life that do not come from obvious sins, but from quiet neglect, a skipped meal, a sleepless night, a postponed prayer because you are too busy, bit by bit. They wear down the temple. When the body is not cared for, the mind grows confused, the soul falls mute. A single grain of sand can ruin an entire machine. How much more a heart that is constantly overstretched? These small signs are not meaningless. They are bells of warning. Sadly, most people only hear them when everything has already collapsed. I see you still smiling while your heart is heavy, still working while your breath shortens, still saying, "I'm fine," while you are empty inside. Your resilience moves me, but I did not create you merely to endure. The life I give is not a contest. It is a journey lived in companionship. I have never asked you to be strong on your own. If you will stop, breathe, and look up, I will be your strength. Only when you dare to be weak can I reveal my power in full. The world praises those who never stop, but I smile upon the one who knows how to pause in trust. Each deep sleep, each peaceful breath, each meal offered with thanksgiving is an act of faith. In them, you are saying, I believe you keep me even when I am no longer striving. It is not your effort, but your surrender that becomes the source of lasting strength. Remember, body, mind, and spirit are not three separate parts. They are interwoven like three strands, tightly braided. When one is wounded, the others cannot. Remain at peace. A weakened body clouds the mind. A troubled mind misleads the soul. Therefore, caring for your body is not only a physical matter, it is an act of honoring the one who breathed life into you. Some think that as long as they keep their faith, nothing else matters. But true faith is never detached from daily life. When I created you, I did not only give you a soul, I also gave you a body to practice love. I want you to use these hands to hold the suffering, these feet to go where I call, this heart to love. But how can you love if you yourself are utterly spent? I do not require your perfection. I only desire your gratitude, grateful that you can still breathe, still feel the warmth of the sun, grateful that this body still functions even when you sometimes forget to care for it. When you are grateful, the temple within is being repaired, brick by brick of humility, pillars of trust, and windows of hope. Gratitude fills the temple with light, even while storms rage. Outside, perhaps you are struggling and do not know where to begin. Do not look for grand changes. Start with the smallest things. Eat in peace, sleep in faith. Let your breathing become prayer, and whisper, I need you, when your heart trembles. Each small act is a stone being set back into its proper place. Little by little, the temple will be restored. When the body is supported, the mind becomes clear, and the soul more readily hears the voice that speaks from heaven. You will learn how to stop at the right time, how to refuse the things that pull you out of the orbit of peace. You will no longer feel ashamed for needing rest, because resting in me is not laziness. It is trust. It is precisely when you let go that the miracle of healing begins to work. Let me touch the part of you that is most worn out, the place where you have hidden your fatigue and wounds. I do not come to accuse. I come to restore, just as I once touched Elijah in the wilderness, just as I once restored Job from the ashes. I can do the same for you. For your body, though weary and frail, is still the place I have chosen to reveal my power. Caring for your body is not only about protecting your health, but about honoring a sacred presence. Each time you know how to listen to the call of your body, how to lay down burdens I have not placed on your shoulders, you are relearning how to live in the rhythm of grace. A temple is not preserved by iron and steel, but by a heart that cherishes what is holy. There will come a day when you realize that caring for yourself is not thinking only of yourself, but guarding the light I have entrusted to you. A healthy temple radiates light and becomes a beacon for those who are wandering in the dark. I want you to become that lamp, not a blinding light, but a gentle, steadfast flame that does not go out. So breathe deeply, slow down, let your heart beat in harmony with my peace. There is no need to hurry, no need to tense up, you need only return, and I will do the rest. I am still here, not far away at all, but right within each of your breaths. There are forms of destruction that do not arrive with an explosion, but with very quiet cracks. No one notices the exact moment the temple begins to split. They only know that one morning, light slips through the wall and shines into an empty space they never expected. These cracks rarely come from some great catastrophe. They come from the small things, the habits you still call harmless. A cup of coffee instead of breakfast, a few hours staying up too late, a surge of anger never released, a day without prayer. Each of those little things, seemingly ordinary, is quietly eroding the temple from within. It is no accident that the body grows weaker, the mind grows heavier, and the soul grows silent. What you call habit, I call a fine cord wrapped around the soul. I have placed within you the ability to discern between what nourishes and what destroys. But you often no longer hear that voice. You call exhaustion normal, call sleeplessness familiar, call tension inevitable. You begin to accept what is abnormal as your daily breath. The world applauds you for your unceasing effort, but I see in your eyes the muteness of the soul. There is a thin boundary between living and merely existing, and each time you deny your limits, you are stepping further toward the other side of that boundary. Like the Jews of old, when they were still in the wilderness, I gave them manna each day, enough for that day, neither surplus nor lack. Yet some tried to store it up, afraid of going hungry tomorrow, and the manna rotted. You are the same when you carry too much, work beyond your strength, live too fast, cling too tightly. The things that seem so necessary become the very source of decay within. I never created you to live in fear, for perfect love makes no room for fear. If you believe that I am the one who provides, you will learn to let go of the habits that are clogging the flow of life within you. Your body has its own language, but you often command it to be silent. When it hurts, you take medicine to forget. When it is tired, you drink coffee to stay awake. When it needs rest, you turn the music up louder to drown out its groaning. You become the harshest master of your own body. And then one day, your body no longer obeys. It rebels through sickness, through persistent pain, through a restlessness that will not subside. That is not betrayal, it is a cry for help. I did not create the body to endure without limit. I placed boundaries within it, not to bind you, but to protect you from your own blindness. Habits may seem small, but they always carry great consequences. A single drop of water does not cause a flood, but given enough time, it can sweep away an entire temple. There are things you do without feeling any guilt, yet they are the invisible cords tying your soul to what is meaningless. You reach for brief stimulation, instant pleasures, a momentary sense of control, a passing thrill, forgetting that they always demand a deeper price. Your mind becomes addicted to what mutes the voice of the spirit, and from that point, peace begins to depart. Over the years, you have traded many things in pursuit of what you thought you must do. But have you noticed that what you are losing is not out there, but within? When you allow weariness, anger, and exhaustion to repeat themselves, they cease to be mere emotions and turn into a structure. I see in your soul a fortress built of resignation. The walls are high, the gates are shut, and inside, life no longer flows. Yet I still stand patiently outside, knocking gently, waiting for a single crack in the door. For the moment there is even the smallest opening, I will come in and pour in new breath. Someone once asked me, "Why does the Lord care about small things?" And I answered, "Because life begins from what is small." A single seed, dropped by chance, can split a stone. In the same way, one small good habit, a short prayer in the morning, a meal received with gratitude, a peaceful night's sleep, can open the way for deep renewal. Restoration does not come as a dazzling miracle in an instant, but through quiet, steadfast decisions made each day. I once told you about Naaman, the commander with leprosy who could not believe that bathing 7 times in the Jordan River could bring healing. He longed for a grand miracle, a dramatic act of power. But my healing is always simple. Naaman was only restored when he humbled himself to do the small thing. So it is with you. Transformation does not come when you accomplish great feats, but when you relearn how to live small, to eat, to rest, to breathe, and to say, enough, to what harms you. What saddens me is not that you make mistakes, but that you accept those mistakes as a way of life. You say, everyone is like that, to comfort yourself, but everyone is like that, has never been my standard. Each time you tolerate what destroys, you are wearing away the holy edge of the temple. Yet, if today you would simply stop, even for one brief moment, just long enough to see how far you've gone, that already is the beginning of your return. Try looking at the way you begin your day. You wake in a hurry, reach for your phone before offering a word of thanks, drink coffee before drinking water, read the news before reading my word. Those things seem small, but they shape your entire soul. You are letting the world write the melody of your day, while I long to teach you to begin with silence, with breath, with gratitude. The temple cannot shine when you allow the dust of the world to cover the altar every morning. Old habits are hard to change because they cling to your rhythm of life, to your emotions, even to the way you define yourself. But I am not calling you to change everything. I am inviting you to change the way you see. See each habit as a seed. Some seeds nourish, some seeds poison. You reap what you sow, not because I am harshly judging you, but because of the law of life I have woven into creation. When you choose what is good, you are cooperating with me in the work of recreating yourself. There will be moments when you feel weary, when you feel unable to break free from old patterns. Do not be afraid. No one is healed in a single day. New birth is always a journey, and I walk with you in every step. Each time you choose rest instead of burnout, forgiveness instead of anger, prayer instead of anxiety, a new stone is being laid in the foundation of the temple that is being restored. When you begin to love what is small and simple, I will cause what is great to change by itself. As you learn to be faithful in the details, life within you will gradually return. Your body will grow stronger, your mind clearer, your soul warmer, and right in that rhythm of life that seems so ordinary, miracles will begin to sprout. For I do not work wonders only in storms, but in the light dew on the leaves, the places people hardly notice, yet which always carry the breath of heaven. One day, you will realize that peace is not something you gain by striving, but the fruit of living in harmony with my rhythm. When you stop running, stop forcing, stop clinging, you will hear a very gentle beat, the heartbeat of a temple brought back to life. And from that heartbeat, a new journey will open, a journey of deeper, truer healing, where I am still waiting for you in the tender silence of love. Sometimes, what makes you so tired is no longer your body or your habits, but the burdens you hide in your heart. There are angers that have not yet cooled, wounds that have not yet closed, fears that have not yet been named. They quietly press upon your heart, making each beat feel heavy. You still live, still smile, still work, but deep inside, a part of you is exhausted from carrying so many things that have not been laid down. Your weariness no longer comes from your tasks, but from the silent battle within. The more you brace yourself, the more you lose the gentleness I placed in your soul. You think you must control everything, hold tightly so as not to lose, be strong so that no one sees you as weak. But in doing so, you are building a wall between you and me. Only when you loosen your grip can I touch you. Each time you reject your own weakness, you also reject the chance for me to show my love. There are wounds I long to heal, but I cannot, because you keep gripping them, like someone afraid to lose a familiar part of themselves, even though it has already made them bleed. I once allowed the people of Israel to wander 40 years in the wilderness, not because I wanted to torment them, but because their hearts carried too much bitterness and resentment. Each time they grumbled, each time they said, "If only we had stayed in Egypt." I had to wait for another generation, for no one can enter the promised land with a heart full of resentment. In the same way, you cannot enter peace while clutching anger, hurt, and fear. If they are not released, they become a burden that will collapse your inner temple. You have grown so accustomed to living in tension that you now call it normal. You carry the whole world on your shoulders and think that only when everything is finally in order will you be allowed to rest. But true peace does not lie in the absence of storms. but in knowing who is with you in the storm. When you cling to everything, work, relationships, expectations, the past, you are putting yourself in my place. You want to save, to keep, to control. But have you noticed that the tighter you hold, the more things slip away, the more you strain, the more you break? There are things you must release, not because they are meaningless, but because they no longer belong to the present. Broken memories, wounding words, people who have gone. They were once important, but if you clutch them forever, they will turn into chains. I do not ask you to forget, I only ask that you no longer be imprisoned by them. Forgiveness is not erasing memory, but loosening the bonds. When you forgive, you are not only setting others free, you are setting yourself free. Once, I watched Joseph being sold by his brothers, thrown into prison, forgotten, and yet, through all those long years, he did not let bitterness take over his heart. It was that very gentleness that made him the one I chose to save his whole family. Had Joseph clung to resentment, he would never have been able to see the meaning hidden inside his suffering. So, it is with you. There are things you must go through, not to destroy you, but to teach you a mercy that only those who have been wounded can truly understand. Emotions that have been suppressed for a long time do not disappear. They only change form. They turn into back pain, sleepless nights, irregular heartbeats. The body becomes the language of the soul. When you are angry yet say nothing, grieving yet do not weep, anxious yet do not pray, your body will carry the weight your soul was meant to release. That is why you are exhausted, even when you have not done very much. It is not that the work is too heavy, but that your heart has not been allowed to rest. Try to imagine, if you truly let everything go, what would happen? Perhaps you would cry, perhaps you would fall silent, perhaps you would feel empty for a few days at first. But then, a strange lightness would begin to come. Like a river that has been dammed up for too long and is suddenly opened, the waters will flow again and life will return. I am not asking you to cast aside your responsibilities. I am only inviting you to stop carrying what was never yours to bear. For what is beyond your strength, I have long since carried in your place. You were created to live in freedom. When I breathed my breath into you, I did not lay invisible chains upon your shoulders. Every fear, every pressure, every expectation, most of these do not come from me, but from the comparisons of this world. You do not need to prove yourself. You only need to be present. You do not need to be perfect. You only need to be faithful. The more you strive to please everyone, the further you drift from yourself, and the further you drift from me. Letting go does not mean losing. Letting go is giving back to me what you cannot change. When you dare to lay what is heavy down at my feet, you will find your hands empty again, ready to receive something new. Where there is forgiveness, there is restoration. Where there is surrender, there is freedom. Peace is not given to those who insist on control, but to those who choose to trust. The rest I give is not like the world's. It does not promise you a life without upheaval, but a soul that is not swept away by upheaval. When you learn how to stand still in the riparian midst of the storm, it is not because the wind has ceased, but because your heart has been anchored in me. That is true freedom. No more straining, no more striving to prove yourself, only living in the simple truth. You are not alone. One day, you will realize that the burdens you have been straining under for so long were not responsibility, but fear. Fear of being forgotten, fear of being weak, fear of not being enough. Yet I have never forgotten you, nor have I ever demanded that you be strong. I have only waited for you to see that it is precisely in your weakness that you can finally behold the strength of grace. And when you begin to learn how to loosen your grip, when your shoulders stop trembling, when your breathing grows deeper, that is the sign that the temple within you is slowly being freed from its invisible chains. For a soul set free will draw a body toward healing, just as a heart that knows how to forgive will bring light back into the eyes. That peace, once it reaches you, will quietly spread. You will not need to explain it, yet others will notice that something in you has changed. They will come, not because you preach, but because you live. And in that moment, you become a witness of grace, one who was once bound, now knowing what freedom truly is. And like the waters after a storm, your heart will gradually grow calm. Where once everything was cramped and narrow, there will now be space for light to pass through. From sighs of weariness, a song of gratitude will begin to rise. And in that quiet space, I will whisper, "My peace I give to you." Not loud, not ostentatious, only a deep stillness, like the first breath after the rain. A new beginning, gentle, light, and deep enough to lead you into the next part of your journey, where your faith will be made complete as you learn to look ahead without trembling at what lies behind. There is a kind of fear that slips quietly into the human heart, seeming harmless, yet unsettling the soul more than any storm. It is the fear of what has not yet come. People often look toward the future with anxious eyes, asking themselves, "What will happen tomorrow?" All that I have kept, all that I have arranged, you place instead into the hands of fear, and then force yourself to control what is to come. Worry, even in small measure, is still a form of doubt. It is the whisper in the middle of the night that says, "I do not believe you will take care of this." And just like that, peace slips away from you in the moments that seem the most insignificant. The future has never been in your hands, and in truth, you were never created to grasp it. I have already said that I know every step of your path, that not even a strand of hair falls from your head without being counted. Yet worry makes you forget this. It drives you to seek certainty in things that are, by their nature, passing. You look at your bank account, your work, your relationships, your plans, and you place your hope in them. Then when things do not go as you wished, you are afraid and even begin to doubt me. But you forget that I have never left. It is only that you have stopped looking in my direction. Long ago, when the people of Israel stood before the Red Sea with the Egyptian army behind them, they panicked and complained to Moses that they should have stayed as slaves rather than die in the wilderness. They forgot that it was by my mighty hand that they had been led out. At the first sign of the storm, they trembled. You are the same. Every time you face uncertainty, you look at your circumstances and forget how many times I have already made a way. You count the risks, but you do not count the miracles. You calculate your fears, but you do not factor in grace. And in doing so, you let worry become the shadow covering the light that has always been in your heart. I have never promised that your path would be easy, but I have always promised that I would walk with you on that path. You do not have to carry the future. You only need to take each step in obedience. Worry finds its place only when your heart forgets the present moment. All that I give, joy, strength, peace, is given for today. When you use the mind of today to carry the weight of tomorrow, the load becomes too heavy. But when you dwell fully in the present, I will provide enough for each step you take. There are nights when you lie awake, afraid that tomorrow you might lose your job, lose someone you love, lose your place in this world. You look around and see how fragile everything is, and you ask, if everything falls apart, what will I have left? I answer, you will still have me, for I am the inheritance that never fades. Worry cannot bring the future any closer, but it will surely steal the joy of the present. When you live in fear, you are like someone standing before a rich feast, yet not daring to eat, afraid that the food will run out. Sometimes, what troubles you is not lack, but abundance. When everything is going well, you become afraid of losing it. You cling tightly to the blessing and forget the one who blesses. I see you hiding your anxiety inside your words of thanks, grateful yet constantly uneasy. But grace is not given so that you can cling to it in fear. It is given so that you can trust that even if you lose everything, I am still there. True peace does not lie in having enough, but in knowing that even if nothing remains, I remain. In every moment of your confusion, I do not scold you. I simply invite you to sit down. Take a deep breath. Look back over your journey. How many times did you think you would not make it, and yet you are still here? Who carried you through those sleepless nights? Who lifted you up when you fell? Who gave you breath again this very morning? If I could do all that yesterday, what reason do you have to doubt tomorrow? I do not change. Only your heart changes the direction of its gaze. I know where your worry comes from the fear that you are not enough, from feeling small before things that are too great. But is it not precisely because you are weak that I am still here? If you were strong enough, you would not need me. Worry does not disappear when you try to control more. It fades when you choose to surrender. Surrender is not giving up. It is placing the future in the hands of the one who sees every path. Once, I sent my disciples out onto the lake at night, knowing full well that a storm would come. When the waves rose, they were terrified and thought they would die. But right in the middle of the storm, I came, walking on the water, saying, "Take courage, it is I, do not be afraid." Have you noticed? I did not calm the storm at once. I revealed myself in the storm, not outside of it, because what I wanted them to learn was not how to avoid the tempest, but how to find me in the midst of the raging wind. So it is with you. I do not promise that you will never face hardship, but I promise that I will never leave you alone in it. When worry floods in, remember this: faith is not the absence of fear. It is knowing that you are held even in your fear. I have taken hold of you since before you even knew how to call my name, and these hands will never let go. Your future is not drifting in randomness. It is engraved in a plan full of love. You do not need to see the whole road. You only need to know that my hand is steady enough to lead you through. If you learn this, you will see that worry no longer has the power to rule you. Each morning when you wake up, instead of thinking, "What will happen today?" you will say, "Today, I have you." And that one sentence will be enough to make the whole day bright. The peace I give is not like the world's, because it does not depend on whether you gain or lose, win or fail. It needs only one thing: trust. And as you begin to live this way, each step will feel lighter, each breath deeper. You will no longer look at the future with fearful eyes, but with a gaze of trust. The storm may still be there, but within you, the sea will be calm. This is what I have desired from the beginning. Not that you would know everything, but that you would know that I am enough. From within that peace, you will understand. Everything I do, however incomprehensible, is held within a design of love. You do not need to run ahead of time, you only need to walk with grace. And each day that you choose trust over worry, you are writing a new page of faith, a page of which I am the author, and you need only read it with a trusting heart. For in the end, worry is a burden you choose for yourself, while peace is the gift I have always kept ready for you. Whether you carry the weight or enter into rest, that I leave for you to decide. But if you choose to let go, to trust, to live in my rest, I will cause all things, whether darkest night or brightest dawn, to become meaningful, because they all lie within the hands of the Sovereign One. And from that quiet place, when you have learned how to let your heart be still, you will begin to hear another call more clearly, gentle as the wind, yet deep enough to stir you. A tender yet resolute invitation. Step out and receive the miracle that begins with obedience. For wherever peace is sown, there new life begins to rise. There are turning points in life that do not arrive like thunder splitting the sky, but in a very gentle moment, when you suddenly fall silent and realize It is time to live differently. Not because everything outside has changed, but because deep within, something is urging you to come home. After long, weary years, when your body is exhausted, your soul worn thin, and your faith seems drained dry, it is precisely then that the seed of miracle begins to stir. I did not create you just to exist. I created you to live, to shine, to become living proof that grace is real, that restoration is not a dream. A miracle is not a flash of lightning across the sky, but a small spark of light that flickers to life in the heart of someone who dares to choose a different path. It begins when you are willing to lift your head from fear, to put your inner temple in order, and to let me in. Do not wait until everything is perfect, for miracles do not sprout in perfection. They grow up out of ruins. When you are willing to return, when you are willing to say enough to the habits that are slowly killing your life, that is when the door opens to healing. A bit of awareness, a small prayer, a decision that seems so ordinary, yet under my hand, they will become the wind that carries you out of the dark. Tomorrow is promised to no one, but today is still in your hands, and it is in this very day that the miracle is sown. Not through great deeds, but through very simple things. An unhurried meal, a peaceful sleep, a sincere word of thanks, an act of love, born out of faith. Each small thing, like a paving stone, will lead you toward the place I have prepared. True change never comes from the storm. It arises in stillness. When you stop arguing, stop blaming, stop trying to control everything and simply say, "Lead me." You think I only move when you cry out loudly, but at times I work in silence, in a quiet decision that only you and I know. Like the woman with the issue of blood in the scriptures who only brushed the hem of my garment, no one saw, no one knew. There was no noise, but power went out. For a miracle does not depend on how loud the prayer is, but how true the heart is. A small faith, placed in the right hands, is enough to move heaven. When you begin to choose to honor your own body, you are stepping into the process of restoration. When you allow my word to touch your thoughts, you are setting the holy place of your mind in order again. When you open your heart to forgiveness, you are wiping clean the altar, where your soul once gathered dust. I do not stand far off, waiting for you to be perfect before I come. I walk with you in every small movement, in every breath still tinged with the smell of ashes. For the miracles I bring are never separated from your true self, weak, weary, but still holding a tiny ember that wants to live. Restoration does not happen in a single day, but it begins in a single day, the day you dare to take a step, and that first step, however small, carries eternal weight. I do not fix my eyes on how far the road still is. I look at the direction you are walking. If that direction is toward the light, I will add strength to every step. Transformation is never a race. It is a shared journey. You just keep walking, and I will take care of the rest. I know that sometimes you are waiting for a clear sign, a voice from heaven, some strange wonder to confirm that you are on the right path, but miracles are not always loud. They show up in the most ordinary choices, when you choose gentleness instead of anger, forgiveness instead of blame, trust instead of fear. Every time you do, you open another window in your inner temple, so my light can stream in. Do not chase after intense emotions. Seek the peace that endures. Do not wait for mighty winds. Let my gentle breath be your guide. And when you have learned to live this way, you will realize that the miracle is not the result, but the process of drawing nearer to me day by day. Each step of obedience is a mark of resurrection. Every time you pause amid the current of life and whisper, "I trust you," the kingdom of heaven is widening within your heart. True healing is not that every wound disappears, but that you allow them to tell the story of faith. I do not abandon you to wrestle alone with what you do not understand. I go with you, little by little, quietly but surely. Every time you collapse, I will bend down again, not to pick apart your faults, but to lift you up. For I love you not because you stand firm, but because you dare to return. One child who comes home is worth more than 10,000 who remain afar only to watch. And when you step forward, even trembling, I will make that step firm. There will come a time when you understand that the miracle is not in me doing something supernatural, but in your willingness to let me work. A miracle begins where your will and my grace meet. When you choose to live as I intended, honoring your body, nurturing your mind, guarding your soul in purity, you are allowing me to complete my work in you. No one else, but you yourself, will be living proof that love can restore everything that was once in ruins. And like the first morning after a long storm, when light streams through the still wet leaves, you will see every pain, every sleepless night, every tear, all of it has led you here. To this moment when you stand in the midst of life, light, at peace, and you know you have been saved. Not from the world, but from yourself, from the habits that harm you, from fear, from doubt. From here on, life is no longer a battle just to survive, but a journey of companionship. You no longer have to chase after miracles. You are the miracle. Every breath, every step, every grateful glance becomes a testimony that God is here. And in that moment, the heavens do not need to open, because your heart has opened wide enough to hold the new life. So, either you keep walking the old road, where everything slowly withers, where your soul is worn out in meaningless striving, or you rise, lay down your burdens, choose life, choose health, choose the one who holds your days. The miracle is no longer far away. It begins in the very moment you say, "Yes, I am coming home." And it is in that very moment that heaven within you gently opens. Do not hesitate any longer, for every breath leaving your chest is a reminder that time will not wait. Each passing day you do not come home is one more step you take away from peace. I do not say this to frighten you, but so you may recognize the value of this present moment, where I am still waiting, still reaching out, still calling your name in the softest whisper. You may think everything is fine, that tomorrow you will have more time, more chances to change. But my child, tomorrow is not a guaranteed gift, and this very moment is the doorway of the miracle. You may step through, or you may turn away. No one can choose for you. I can only invite. The steps must be your own. I see how hard you are trying. You are exhausted from wanting everything to be right, from wanting to please, from wanting to prove that you are okay. But in all that effort, you are losing something precious, the peace I placed in you from the beginning. You are racing after earthly things, and in that race, you are dropping your own self. The world tells you that strength means never stopping, always being in control. But I tell you this: true strength is daring to be weak in my arms. It is knowing when to step back so I can act. It is choosing silence so you can hear my voice more clearly in the chaos. Walking with me has never been easy, but it is the only road that leads to life. Your body, your mind, and your spirit, they are mirrors of one another. When your heart holds resentment, your breath grows heavy. When your soul is parched, the light fades from your eyes. Each pain in your body is not only a physical symptom, but a cry from a soul still unhealed. I have woven into you a connection between body and spirit, so that when one is wounded, the other raises the alarm. The chronic headaches, restless nights, irregular heartbeat, none of these are random. They are my way of saying to you, stop, you are heading the wrong way. The more you try to ignore it, the louder that voice becomes. Not to frighten you, but to awaken you from the trance of self-destruction. I know there are things you still cannot let go of. Anger, bitterness, resentment. They have become like a protective cloak for a fragile heart. You fear that if you release them, you will be hurt again. But you do not see that by clinging to them, you are allowing old wounds to keep bleeding. Forgiveness does not make you weak. It sets your soul free from invisible chains. To forgive is not to forget, but to give yourself permission to be healed. Every time you forgive, you open another crack in the walls of your inner temple, where I can enter, touch, and transform. There are fears you dare not name: fear of being forgotten, fear of not being enough, fear of being abandoned. Yet I have never forgotten you, not for a single second. Long before you learned to love yourself, I already loved you with an unconditional love. Each time you fall, I am not disappointed. I simply want you to see that the very place where you stumble can become the starting point of your rising. You do not have to fight this battle alone. I am there in your nights of tears, in your days of exhaustion, in the moments when you feel your faith slipping away. I have never left. It is only that you have stopped looking toward the light. I do not ask you to be perfect. I only ask you to be honest. Honest about your pain, about the scars you have tried so hard to hide. Honest that you are not okay, that you need to be loved, to be held. I will not scold you. I will not ask why. I will simply embrace you, like a father holds a child returning from a long road. For I know that to come back, you have had to push through so many layers of fear, so many prejudices, so many nights of questioning yourself. You think I only look at your soul, but no, I also see your body, how you care for it, how you listen to it. For that too is a part of faith. When you choose to eat what is wholesome, to rest rightly, when you know to stop at your limits, you are honoring the place where I dwell. Every small act like that is a prayer made with your body. You cannot say you love me while still destroying the very temple I built. And when you learn to love yourself in the right way, you will understand what it means to love others with a true love. My child, pain is not the enemy. It is a messenger. Every wound carries a message. It tells you that you need to stop, to heal, to come home. Do not hate your pain. Let it teach you how to love more deeply. Let the cracks in your soul become windows for the light to pass through. It is through those very fractures that grace will seep in, and what is old and worn will be replaced with what is new. I am not saying you will never fall again. I am saying that the next time you fall, you will not fall alone. For now, I am with you, and I will remind you that falling is not the end, but an essential part of growing up in grace. Each time you rise, you are changed a little, not necessarily stronger, but deeper, gentler, more able to love. What you are going through is not a punishment. It is an invitation to re-establish your relationship with yourself and with me. Every decision you make from this day on will become a seed sown into your future. Choosing kindness, choosing rest, choosing prayer, choosing forgiveness, all of these are acts of faith. Do not wait until you have all the answers, for faith begins where reason stops. I do not need you to understand everything. I only need you to trust that I will never leave you alone in the storm. I know there are whispers in your mind saying, "It's too late," saying, "I can't change." But do not believe them. They do not come from me. They come from the one who wants you to believe you are unworthy of love. Yet I say to you, it is never too late to begin again. Every sunrise is proof that I am still writing your story. As long as you still have breath, miracles can still happen. And when you begin to believe, I will move, not with thunder, but with a gentle breath. I will rearrange what you thought was shattered, stitching together each fragment of your heart with the thread of love. What you believed was lost forever will be restored in ways you never expected. For I am the one who makes the old new, who brings blossoms out of ashes, who turns the storm itself into a road. I do not need you to be strong. I only need you to step forward. Even if that step trembles, even if you cannot yet see the destination, just keep going, because I am walking with you, and on every stretch of the way, you will see yourself changing. Not because you are trying harder, but because grace is at work within you. True transformation does not come from sheer effort, but from allowing me to lead the journey. When you let go, I will take you to places you never thought you could reach. Let this present moment be the beginning. Do not say, "I'll wait for tomorrow is a fragile promise. Today is your opportunity to choose life. Step out of the shadows of doubt, out of the habit of tormenting yourself, out of the fear that has bound you for so many years. Let me make you new, from your body to your mind, from your soul to the way you see. And as you walk on this new path, you will feel the weight grow lighter, your breathing deepen, and the light return to your heart. The miracle is not far away. It is not found in spectacular events outside of you, but in the simple act you choose today. You decide to live differently. You decide to forgive, to love, to lift your head and look up. When you do that, heaven trembles with joy, because I see, my child, after so many wandering years, finally finding the way home. And once you have come home, this world will no longer shake you as it once did. For within you now is a peace no power can take away, the peace of one who knows they are loved, rescued, and guided. The peace of one who has laid down their heavy burdens and learned to live in my hand. Today, you no longer have to stumble around searching for direction, because you have found it. The path of life, the path of restoration, the path that leads you back to me. I do not promise that you will never see another storm, but I promise the winds will no longer sweep you away. I do not promise the sky will always be clear, but I promise the light will never go out. And I promise this, as long as you keep walking with me, you will never lose your way again. For now you are not merely surviving, you are coming alive, with a new vitality, a new faith, and a love that cannot be shaken. You yourself are proof of the miracle of restoration. And from this day on, every breath you take, every laugh you share, every moment you live will be a quiet yet wondrous testimony before all of heaven. A soul once broken is now being made new in the arms of the Creator. You have often prayed for a sign, a miracle, something grand to prove that I am still at work in your life. You have longed for some extraordinary event, a burst of light tearing through the darkness around you. But my child, the miracle I promised does not always appear in such dazzling form. It is not the clap of thunder in the sky, but the slow, steady rain soaking into the parched soil of your soul. It begins not in a faraway place, but right within your heart, where you are willing to open up, to listen, and to dare to do what is right, even in small ways. In the very moment you say, "I want to change," the miracle has already begun. For I do not wait for you to be perfect before I act. I move as soon as you are honest. A seed of faith, even as small as a mustard seed, when planted in the right place, is enough to move mountains. And that seed, my child, is in your hands right now. Do not underestimate small steps, for in my eyes no step is meaningless. A grateful glance instead of a complaint, a prayer in place of a sigh, a decision to rest instead of continuing to hurt yourself. Each of these ordinary choices can become the beginning of an entirely new life. True transformation rarely comes through dramatic upheavals, but through quiet, steady changes. Like the dawn, it needs no strong wind or loud sound. It only needs the sun to be patient enough to rise after the long night. You do not have to break through spectacularly. You only need to be faithful day by day, and I will take care of the rest. I know you are tired. I know there have been moments when you wanted to give up because you thought you could never change. Some habits have taken root like an old tree. Some ways of living feel like part of who I am. But my child, nothing is too great for my love. Any tree can be pruned, any soil can be renewed, Any soul can be revived when the water of grace soaks in. You do not need to worry about uprooting everything on your own. I will help you, little by little, step by step. Restoration does not happen in a violent storm, but in the gentle rhythm of each day you dare to live differently. The miracle is not that I do everything in your place, but that you choose to cooperate with me. When you decide to walk even while your legs still tremble, to forgive even while your heart still hurts, to trust even when you see no results yet, that is when heaven moves. For I work through hearts that are willing, not through people who appear perfect. I do not need you to be unshakable, only to agree to walk with me. Give me just a small open space where I can set my foot, and I will change everything. And then, when you look back, you will see that what once terrified you has become the very place where I planted new hope. My beloved child, I know it is not easy to let go of old patterns, of ways of living that have been yours for many years. But remember this: true change does not come when you have tried hard enough, but when you allow me to lead. Walk forward in the confidence that you are not alone. Every time you stumble, I am there. Every time you grow weak, I am holding you up. I am not only by your side when you are strong. In the very moments you feel like collapsing, I draw closer than ever. You may not feel my presence, but I am lifting you with invisible hands. There are stretches where footprints mark the sand, and stretches where there is only one set. Those are the times I have been carrying you through the dry places. Do not let the world drown out the voice within you. It will tell you that you are not good enough, that nothing has changed, that miracles are luxuries reserved for others. But my child, those words are lies. You have always been chosen, always been loved, always been destined for something better. You do not need to become someone else for me to love you. You only need to return to your truest self, the one I created, full of worth and designed for a life in fullness. When you learn to see yourself through my eyes, everything will be transformed. I want you to know that there is no mistake so great that it makes me turn my back on you. No matter how many times you have failed, how many times you have walked away, I am still waiting. My love does not grow weary, does not place conditions, does not keep a tally of your wrongs. It never withdraws the word I have spoken. You belong to me. Even if your past is crowded with shadows, a single ray of faith is enough to tear through the darkness. You cannot change what has already happened, but you can choose how you will live today. And in that decision, the miracle unfolds. Do not think I require grand gestures or solemn promises. What I seek is a sincere heart. When you stand in the night and whisper, "I trust you," all of heaven falls silent to listen. When tears stream down your face, and yet you still lift your head to pray, that is when I place a crown of grace upon you. For I do not measure faith by the strength of your voice, but by the depth of your surrender. A yielded soul is always a place where I delight to dwell. Know that there is no limit to the blessings that can flow when you choose to live according to my will. Every time you obey, even in the smallest thing, you are rewriting your story. Every time you choose life instead of your old habits, you are cracking the chains of this world. I am not searching for perfection. I am looking for willingness. For miracles do not spring from pride, but from humility. And in you I see a heart that still trembles, still longs, still desires to begin again. And that alone is enough to make heaven rejoice. You are not alone on this journey. You may not see anyone beside you, but countless prayers are lifting you up, and angels are walking with you on every stretch of the road. I will never hand you over to the darkness. Though you walk through fire, you will not be burned. Though you pass through deep waters, you will not drown. Every step you take, I know. Every breath you draw, I guard. And when you grow weary, I will let you rest in the shelter of my peace. Let me be the place you return to whenever you feel weak. You often ask, How can I know the miracle has come? And I answer, when you begin to believe that you are worthy. For one who does not believe in their own worth will never recognize grace. You are worthy not because you are good, but because I am good. You are chosen not because of your achievements, but because of love. Once you accept that love, the whole sky changes. What once seemed random begins to fall into place. The twists and turns that frightened you become pathways leading you back to the light. The miracle is not that something new suddenly appears, but that your eyes are opened to see it was there all along. Your time is not endless, and I speak to you today not to frighten you, but to awaken you. Every passing second is an opportunity to live with true meaning. Do not delay. Do not wait until I'm free. Do not think, I'll deal with it tomorrow. Tomorrow is not guaranteed, but this present moment holds me, holds life, holds the possibility of change. Take hold of it. Choose to act, even in small ways. Read a prayer again, apologize to someone, forgive yourself, rest for a day, give thanks for your breath. These simple, ordinary acts are the golden threads that weave together the tapestry of your faith. You have gone far, you have stumbled, you have fallen, but with every fall, you are still moving forward. I do not look at the times you collapse, I look at the times you rise again. The road of restoration is not straight, but do not be afraid, it still leads you back to me. Just keep walking, even if it is slow. Keep believing, even when you do not yet see. Keep loving, even while you are still afraid, for I never take my hand away from you. My grace is not only waiting at the end of the road, it is surrounding you even now. And when you choose life, choose wholeness, choose me, everything else will begin to change. Your body will be restored, your mind will become clear again, your soul will find rest. Your days will no longer be a mere string of survival, but a journey filled with meaning. For true life is not found in breathing, but in knowing to whom you belong. You belong to me, and I am yours. Within that relationship, miracles become the most natural thing. So let go of all your excuses, your hesitation, your fears. Say to your own heart, I choose to live differently. Then let me lead you. I will bring you through the dark places, through the valleys, into new fields, where peace springs up like young grass after the rain. There, you will understand that the miracle is not in what you achieve, but in who you become. A soul that knows how to live, how to love, how to trust, that is the greatest miracle of all. Now, as you are reading these words, as your heart trembles even for a single beat, I want you to know this is not by accident. It is a call from heaven, reminding you that there is still time, still opportunity, still hope. Make use of it. Choose life, choose healing, choose me, because when you choose me, you are choosing the brightest part of your own soul. And from there, everything will be made new, not only in this life, but for all eternity. My beloved child, every time your heart sinks under the weight of tomorrow, I see each broken breath, each restless sleep. You fear what has not yet come, you calculate roads you have not walked, you are confused, not knowing whether light or darkness waits at the end of the path. But I want you to know this. Nothing in your future lies outside my reach. I am the one who holds every morning and every sunset. I am the one who lit the dawn and called each star by name, and I am also the one who appointed every heartbeat in your chest. Nothing happens without my knowing. No trial comes to you without my having prepared a way through it. Before you ever cried your first cry, before the world ever heard your name, I had already seen your whole journey, both the dangerous bends and the flower-filled valleys. Every detail of your life has not fallen into randomness. It lies within my delicate plan, woven by the hands of eternal love. I know that worry often comes like an uninvited guest who simply sits down at the table of your heart. It wears the cloak of preparation, but in truth, it is only another form of fear. Worry makes you believe that if you do not stay in control, everything will fall apart. But I tell you the truth. You cannot truly control anything beyond this present moment. The past belongs to memory. The future belongs to me. Only the present is the place where you and I meet. That is why I have said, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. I do not despise the fear within you. I understand it. But that fear is not the house you were made to live in. You were created to dwell in peace, not in anxiety. Worry cannot pull the future any closer, but it will surely steal the peace of your present. It makes you forget the flavor of today, forget that this very breath, this very moment, is a gift. When you keep thinking about things that have not yet happened, you miss the little miracles already unfolding before your eyes. Do you see the sunlight filtering through the leaves over there? I have called it to shine just to tell you that I am still here. Do you hear the birds singing every morning? They do not know what they will eat tomorrow, yet they sing because they trust me. And you, the one I call by name, the one I have touched with my own breath, why are you afraid that I will forget you? I have said, look at the lilies of the field. They do not labor or spin, yet I clothe them more beautifully than King Solomon in all his splendor. And you are more precious than lilies, more precious than sparrows. Every cell in your body is the work of my hands. Yet you often ask, do you still remember me? My child, I do not only remember you. I have never left you, not even for a moment. When you rejoice, I smile. When you weep, I quietly wipe away your tears. When you think I am silent, I am still at work. You just have not seen it yet. For miracles do not always arrive with noise and thunder. Sometimes they come in silence, like the way I make seeds sprout in the depths of the earth without anyone hearing a sound. I see how hard you try to make everything secure. You work without stopping. You prepare for every risk. You make plans even for what you cannot foresee. You want control so that you can feel safe, but the more you grasp, the farther you move from true peace. Peace does not come from you holding everything together, but from knowing that I am the one holding you. When you trust, it does not mean abandoning reason. It means placing reason in its rightful place, letting it stop where it must stop. You cannot see the whole road, but I can. You do not need to know everything. You only need to know that I do. Once, I let Peter walk on water. He did what was impossible simply because his eyes were fixed on me. But when the wind rose, when he looked down at the waves, he grew afraid and began to sink. Do you see? The storm did not make him sink. It was fear that stole his focus. And I reached out and took his hand, not letting him fall. You are the same. Every time you fix your eyes on the wind and the waves, you will be afraid. But if you look to me, you will walk upon the waters of your own life, not because you are strong, but because I do not change. I have already written every chapter of your life story. No chapter is unnecessary, no line is random. The seasons you call failure, I call training. The seasons you call silence, I call preparation. You cannot see the full picture while you stand inside the frame. But if you trust me, when the painting is complete, you will understand why the dark strokes were placed right next to the light. In my hands, no pain is ever wasted. No tear falls without my catching it. Your fear of the future is robbing you of the joy of the present. You calculate the long road ahead, yet forget where your feet are standing now. You search for answers among 1,000 imagined scenarios and forget that I, myself, am the answer. You were not created to know everything, but to trust. Faith does not erase uncertainty. It simply gives you enough peace to live within that uncertainty. Sometimes I let you walk through long stretches without clear answers, not because I forget you, but because I want you to learn to love what is not yet clear. for it is in that dimness that you feel your need for me. If everything were obvious, you would no longer need faith. Yet faith is what keeps you truly alive. It is the bridge between the present and the future, supported by my love. My little one, do not let this world erode your faith. Do not let the noise outside drown out my voice within you. When you are afraid, pause. When you are weary, sit down. When you do not know what to do, simply whisper, Lord, I am here, and I will answer. Not with lightning and thunder, but with a strange, deep peace that begins to spread from your heart. That is me. That peace is not just an emotion. It is my presence in you. Do not wait for everything to be all right before you rest in peace. Be at peace, and then things will gradually become all right. Do not wait for the sea to be calm before you set sail, because I am already on the very boat that is trembling beneath you. Your future does not rest in your abilities, but in your faith. One who trusts does not need to know exactly what tomorrow will bring. They only need to know that today they are being led by their Lord. The more you trust, the lighter you become. The more you doubt, the heavier your burdens grow. I know you are afraid, because you have been hurt. What you have lost has made you cautious, has made you believe that to love, to trust, is to invite pain. But I am not like the world. When you place your trust in me, I do not break it. When you put your worries into my hands, I do not condemn you. I turn them into comfort. You may not understand all of my plans, but you can be sure of this one thing. I am always for you, never against you. Every great miracle in Scripture began with one small act of trust. Abraham dared to leave his homeland without knowing where he was going. Moses lifted his staff over the sea without knowing how the waters would part. Mary agreed to bear a child before she was married. None of them had a map, they only had faith, and that was enough for me to move. You do not need to know everything, you only need to say, yes. When you step out, I will make the way. When you stand still, I will strengthen you. When you are weak, I will be your support. Let tomorrow be my concern. You only need to live this day with all your heart. Do what you can do. Love, pray, care for your body, speak kindly, sow a smile, and what is beyond your strength, place it in my hands. You will be surprised to see that the moment you stop over-calculating, things begin to fall into place. For I do not need you to control, I only desire your trust. My love does not promise you a life without storms, but it does promise you an anchor in the midst of the waves. When you keep your eyes on me, every wave becomes only a reflection of the sky. My peace is not like the peace the world gives, because it does not depend on circumstances. It does not come and go, it remains, like a steady breath. Believe that your future, though still unclear, rests in the best of hands. And if one day you feel that everything is falling apart, remember that I do not fall apart with it. When the world withdraws, I remain. When you lose your sense of direction, I am still the compass. When you cannot see the road, I, myself, am the light. Therefore, my beloved child, lift up your head. Do not let worry become your chains. Do not let fear steal the peace I have given you. You were not born to tremble before tomorrow, but to walk into it on the feet of faith. Tomorrow will come, as it has come since the first day of creation. But today, I want you to live fully, peacefully, and trusting. For in the midst of all that changes, only one thing never changes. I, the one who still holds your hand, still goes before you, and still waits for you on the far side of every tomorrow. When you look at the days ahead with hesitation in your eyes, I understand why you feel the road of life is covered in mist, why the future seems like a dim, locked door that will not open. But where you see obstacles, I see preparation for something far greater than you have ever dared to imagine. Every turn, every hardship, every season of lack is not proof of abandonment but a part of my intricate plan, a plan that is still quietly unfolding, far beyond your understanding. When I look into your future, I see no limits, only potential waiting to be awakened. Where you see a wall, I see a way through. Where you see shortage, I see my hand ready to pour out grace at the exact right moment. There is nothing in your life that is wasted or accidentally delayed. Every moment, even the darkest, is held within the timetable of love. You may not yet see it, but I see the whole picture. You may feel like you are slowing down, but in truth I am bringing your steps into perfect rhythm. I am never in a hurry, because I know the exact time when the seed must sprout. Your waiting is not pointless. It is the season in which I am deepening the roots of faith in your heart. What troubles you today is not random. These are lessons carefully arranged to mature your soul. When I allow you to walk through lack, it is not because I have forgotten to provide, but because I want to teach you to discern what is truly needed and what is only illusion. When I permit you to pass through storms, it is not to make you afraid, but to teach you to trust. I know you are weary from trying so hard, from those long nights when it seems as though your prayers go unanswered. But remember this, not one of your prayers falls into emptiness. Every tear, every sigh, every time you whisper, "Please help me," is stored in my bottle. I am never silent out of indifference. I am silent to teach you that faith does not grow in comfort, but in the waiting. You think I am slow to act, but I have never been late. I simply choose the moment when you will be able to understand the deepest measures of my grace. Storms will still come, because this world was never promised to be peaceful. But amid every wave, remember that I am the steady surface beneath your feet. When the wind howls and the waters swirl, do not look down into the depths. Look up, for my hand is still there. When you think you are sinking, I need only one thing from you. Call out, with just one word, I will take hold of you. No storm is stronger than my love, no wave higher than my grace. The storm may toss your body, but it cannot reach the soul I am guarding. You have never walked alone, even in those moments when you felt no one could hear your cries through the rain. I have always been there, not farther than a single breath, not slower than a single heartbeat. I once calmed the wind and stilled the sea, and I am still able to do that today. But often I do not choose to calm the sea, because I want to calm your heart. If you only seek peace on the outside, then every time the wind rises, you will tremble again. But if you find peace within, you will be able to walk even on the waters. That peace does not come from knowing how everything will turn out, but from knowing that I am with you. You do not need a detailed map, you need a guide. I am that one, the unshakable rock, the fortress surrounding your soul. When you stand in me, no wind can knock you down, because your roots are planted in the promised ground of my faithfulness. I have spoken, and my word never returns void. Every promise of mine is like a precious stone that time cannot fade. I have said that I will never leave you nor forsake you, and you can stand on that as your foundation amid every change. You may forget, but I never forget. Even when you wander away, I follow with the gentle gaze of a father who never grows tired. When you are lost, I leave the 99 to search for the one. When you fall, I am not angry. I simply bend down, wipe the dust from your brow and say, "Rise, you still belong to me." There is no failure of yours so great that it can make my love any smaller. When fear invades, do not converse with it. Fear is not your friend. Speak with me instead. Every time you place your worries into my hands, they lose their power. Every time you read my word instead of counting your fears, peace returns. Fear is darkness, and I am light. Where light is present, darkness has no place to stay. If you want to know the power of my promises, remember the times I have already rescued you, those days when you thought you had lost everything, yet in the end, you still had all that truly mattered: breath, faith, and my presence. No storm lasts forever, only love is eternal. You often ask, why do you let me go through these things? And I answer, so that you may learn that faith is not born in sunlight, but in the dark. If you had never been afraid, you would never know what it means to be protected. If you had never been weak, you would not understand the meaning of grace. A tree does not send its roots deep down in springtime, but in winter winds. In the same way, your soul does not grow through ease, but through trials. Yet once you have learned to stand firm, you will see that the very things which once frightened you have become evidence of my kindness. Hold on to these words as an anchor rope in the storm. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. I have covered you with my presence, like an invisible yet unshakable shield. Plots will arise, trials will come, voices of doubt will speak, but none of these lie outside of my control. The world may change, hearts may change, but I, the one who created heaven and earth, never change. Yesterday, I was your Redeemer. Today, I am your shepherd, and forever I will remain your refuge. Learn to look at life through the eyes of faith. Do not only see the rain, see the seeds pushing up beneath the soil. Do not only see what is lost, recognize that I am making all things new. There are things I take away not to punish you, but to protect you. There are things I delay not because you are unworthy, but because I desire to give them at the right time. Whenever you do not understand, do not be quick to despair. Simply say, you know, and that is enough. When you speak those words, the door to peace opens, because trust is the key that unlocks rest. I know you are afraid of tomorrow, because you cannot see the way ahead, but I am already in tomorrow long before you arrive. No turning in the road surprises me. No change leaves me confused. All I ask is that you trust. Trust that the hand which formed the universe is also holding your life. Everything you are facing now, however hard, is being woven by me toward a good purpose. Like threads of many colors, every experience, both joy and sorrow, is being woven by my hand into a complete tapestry where my glory is revealed. When you understand this, anxiety will begin to dissolve like mist before the morning sun. Instead of asking, what will happen, you will ask, what are you teaching me? Instead of fear, you will feel gratitude for living within my hand. When faith has taken root, the wind may rise, but the tree does not fall. Your heart will no longer be led by emotions, but by truth, that I am here, unchanging, unfailing, ever faithful. And then you will realize, true peace is not when the waves are still, but when the newt soul is anchored in the one who never moves. Keep walking. Do not wait for clear skies before setting sail. Keep believing, even when you have not yet seen. Keep your head lifted, for I still go before you. Nothing you are going through is meaningless. It is all leading you toward maturity. And one day, when you look back, you will see that every tear, every fierce gust of wind, every long night, all of it has become the bricks that formed the foundation of an unshakable faith. I chose you, not because you are strong, but because you dare to believe. I engraved your name in my heart before this world was formed. And that love, unconditional, unchanging, undiminished, still surrounds you today, in this very moment. Therefore, no matter what tomorrow brings, be at rest. The one who stretched out the sky is still writing your story, not with the pen of blind fate, but with the hands of grace. So do not fear what lies ahead, for I am already there. Do not mourn what is lost, for the most precious thing, my presence, is never lost. Let your heart be still and know that I am God. When you stand in that certainty, the storm will no longer be a threat, but the rhythm beneath a new song of faith. And you will sing, in the very midst of the storm, with the same breath that once trembled, you are the one I trust, the one who holds my tomorrow, the miracle at work in every moment of my life. My child, when worries about the future cast their shadow over your mind, when things that have not yet happened are already shaking your heart, that is when you are carrying a burden that was never meant to be yours. I have never asked you to control the future, nor have I ever assigned you the task of steering your life alone. Yet you keep trying, struggling in an ocean of anxiety, wanting to hold on to every detail, every possibility, every scenario you think might unfold. You fear that something bad will happen, fear loss, fear not having enough, fear your own weakness, fear even the things you cannot name. And while you are busy calculating how to survive, you forget that it is I who am holding every breath, every heartbeat, every step you take. You say you trust me, but when the darkness falls, you snatch the wheel from my hands and try to steer your small boat through the storm by yourself. I see you fumbling, see you bracing yourself to stay upright, see your silent tears, and I am still there, gently waiting for you to let go. Not so that you will sink, but so that I can bring you into the harbor of peace that only those who trust can enter. I have told you before to cast all your cares on me, because I care for you. Yet you have not fully grasped what that means. Handing things over to me is more than words. It is believing that I am big enough to carry everything you cannot. You do not need to exaggerate your faith. You only need to honestly admit your weakness. I act where you are willing to stop striving. I step in when you stop trying to do my work for me. If I can create the heavens with a single word, if I can still the ocean with a mere raising of my hand, then tell me, do you really think I cannot handle your tomorrow? You do not need to know how I will do it. You only need to trust that I will. For faith is not believing after you see, but daring to believe before anything is visible. Do not be afraid when you do not know what tomorrow holds. Your not knowing does not mean that I do not know. Do not let worry steal the joy I am giving you in this present moment. When you lie awake thinking about what has not yet come, you are missing the life unfolding before you. The birds singing in the morning, the sunlight streaming through the curtains, the loving voice of the one beside you. These small things are signs that I am still here, still working, still keeping you. Worry never makes the future better, but it surely steals the beauty of the present. I want you to learn to breathe deeply, close your eyes, and say, Lord, I trust you. Only when you release your grip can you receive what I long to give. Look at the lilies of the field. They neither worry nor scheme, yet they are clothed in splendor surpassing that of kings. And you, the one I have chosen, the one I have redeemed, do you think I would leave you naked in the harsh winds of life? No, I will never abandon you. Sometimes I am silent, not because I am absent, but because I am working in stillness. I am turning things around, arranging, preparing something far greater than anything you can imagine. You may not see it or understand it now, but know this: everything unfolding in your life has felt the touch of my hand. I understand. There are times when you think I am late. You pray and wait, and when you still see no result, you ask yourself, are you listening? But my child, I have never been silent in order to abandon you. I am silent in order to teach you patience, to steady your trembling heart and help it learn how to rest. Every time I seem to delay, that is when I am preparing something more complete. You see only a single moment, but I see the whole picture. You are afraid because you cannot see the ending, but I have already seen the entire path. Let me hold the map. You only need to walk. Every step taken in faith is a declaration that you trust me more than your own emotions. The peace I long to give you is not like any peace you have known before. It does not come from money or success or other people, but from my presence in your heart. The peace of this world is as thin as mist. A single, small upheaval is enough to make it vanish. But my peace is a quiet fire in the middle of the storm, a cool stream in the desert, a warm breath in long, lonely nights. It does not depend on circumstances, but on the trust that I am still in control of all things. Once you let me reign in your heart, even if the storm rages around you, you will remain at rest. You ask me, how can I receive that peace? The answer is very simple. Learn to trust. Trust is not an act of the mind, but the whisper of the soul. Trust is daring to let go, daring to walk through the fog without fear. Trust is allowing me to do what I will in the time I choose, even when your heart does not yet understand. When you lay before me the things you cannot control, you are opening a space for peace to enter. And when peace comes in, worry must go out. I know there are many things weighing heavily on your heart, your family, your work, your health, your relationships, and even those matters you have never dared to share with anyone. But do not forget that I do not stand far off watching. I am right beside you. I am in every breath, in each tear, in every laugh. Everything you bring to me with a sincere heart, I receive. Do not be afraid that you must speak beautifully or pray perfectly. A single sigh is enough for me to hear. The moment you call, Lord, I am already there. When you pray, entrust yourself completely and do not take it back. Do not finish praying, only to carry your worries home again as if I had never heard you. Believe that I am working behind the scenes, in the very things your eyes cannot yet see. You may think I am silent, but in reality, I am clearing the way. You may see a rough and rocky road, but I am using those very stones to forge you into someone stronger. Each hardship is not a punishment, but a lesson to help you learn to trust more deeply. You have wondered why at times I allow you to walk through the fire, but is it not in the fire that gold is refined? If I did not allow you to pass through difficulties, how would you know where your endurance comes from? How would you discover how real your faith truly is? Remember, I do not let the fire consume you. I let it burn away your pride, your anxiety, and your need to control. And just like a flood, I do not allow it to drown you, but to sweep away what is no longer needed. When the waters recede, you will stand upon new ground, steadfast, purified, and at peace. Surrender does not mean giving up every effort, but doing your part in obedience and letting me do the rest in my power. As you learn to trust, your heart will grow lighter. As you cease to worry, you will see the world around you grow brighter. The things of life will no longer terrify you, because you know you are not alone. I have gone ahead of you, opening the way, straightening the path. You need only follow the footprints of grace. And as you live in that peace, you will begin to see something wondrous unfold. The change within you will ripple outward. Your family will see the light in your eyes. Your friends will sense the calm in your voice. Even strangers will be touched by the warmth of the faith within you. True peace cannot be hidden. It flows out naturally like the fragrance of flowers in the morning sun. You do not need to prove that you have faith. You only need to live in faith, and that alone is the most powerful testimony. I long for you to know that no matter how uncertain the future may seem, you are still safe in my hands. Nothing happens outside of my plan. Though the world may shift, though people may betray you, though everything else may be lost, I do not change. My love for you has no conditions and no limits. Each day, I patiently wait for you to lift your head from fear and see me, the one who is standing there, smiling and saying, "Do not be afraid. I am already here. Walk in that peace." Do not let what has not yet happened rob you of today's joy. Let each morning be a new beginning, where you know that no matter what happens in the world, you are still sheltered. The future is not in your hands, but in the hands of the one who has never lost anything entrusted to him. And if you believe that, then even in the midst of the storm you can still smile, because you know that true peace does not come from avoiding the storm, but from knowing who is walking with you through it. So relax those weary shoulders, take a deep breath, and let your heart grow light. Hand everything over to me, every worry, every fear, every unfinished dream. You do not have to be strong on your own, nor do you need to strain just to survive. You only need to trust, to surrender, to let me love you. And when you do, you will understand that peace is not a reward, but the natural state of a soul that has learned to entrust itself. You will realize that every anxiety is just a passing cloud before the sun, and that light is me. But do you know this? The miracle I want to give you has never been limited to healing your pain or comforting your heart. It is deeper, more complete, and everlasting. It is that you learn to live in my light day by day, even in the midst of things that are still unresolved. For true peace is not when the sea is calm, but when you can stand in the middle of the storm and still keep the faith that I am at the helm. You will never be able to control the direction of the wind, but you can choose where to anchor your heart. If you anchor it in this world, you will be carried away by the current. But if you anchor it in me, you will stand firm, even when the waters rise and the winds roar. True strength does not lie in your hands, but in where you place your trust. And the miracle begins the moment you choose to believe, not when you finally see. I have seen many souls choose to live in the gray zone of compromise, knowing the light, yet hesitating to step into it for fear of leaving what is familiar. But, my child, light only enters where the door dares to open. You have been in the dark for so long that your eyes hurt when they first see the light, but if you endure for a little while, they will adjust, and you will see everything more radiant than ever. That is what restoration is. It does not come by magic, but through each moment that you dare to face the truth and choose light over illusion. You cannot heal what you still hide. You cannot change what you continue to justify. That is why the first step of every miracle is to be honest with yourself. I do not want you to live as one who merely endures. I want you to live as one who is free, one who knows that life is not defined by wounds, but by the way a person rises after those wounds. Every pain has its limit, but grace does not. Every wound has an ending, but my love never does. I went through the cross not so you would go on living in the slavery of fear, but so you could live in the freedom of forgiveness. Every time you lay down a burden, you are taking part in the completion of your own salvation, a work woven from tears, faith, and hope. Do not wait for others to understand you before you dare to be true. Do not wait for the world to accept you before you dare to change. For I, the one who knows you from within, accepted you even before you were formed in your mother's womb. Not a single one of your wounds lies beyond my power to heal. However deep it goes, however long it has been there, I can still lay my hand upon it and make all things new. But you must let me touch it. Do not hide it for fear of pain, because wounds only heal when they are open to the light. You once believed that this wound was your weakness, but in truth, it is the very place where I will reveal my strength. The places you thought were broken beyond repair will become the foundation of blessing. I see in you a longing to begin again, and at the same time, I see your fear of failing once more. You have promised and then broken your promises. You have started and then abandoned. You have wished to become better and then grown weary. I understand. You are human. But what I ask of you is not another promise, but a willing heart. When your heart is ready, I will turn weakness into strength, chaos into order, and ruins into rebirth. Every time you return, I build another level upon the old foundation. You think you are starting over from the beginning, but in reality, you are continuing at a deeper, more mature, and more genuine level. I want you to understand that faith is not a feeling, but a choice you repeat every day. There will be mornings when you do not feel at peace, days when you cannot sense my presence. But that does not mean I have disappeared. The sun does not cease to exist because clouds cover it, and grace does not leave you because your heart is weak. You only need to hold on to one thing. Do not turn away. Keep walking, even if the steps are small. Keep living, even if slowly. Keep believing, even if only one fragile thread of hope remains. For I can use that very thread to weave a new garment for your life, Do you not see? Everything I do in your life carries a deep purpose. When I allow you to pass through hurt, it is so you can learn compassion. When I allow you to experience loss, it is so you can learn to cherish. When I allow you to be alone, it is so you can truly listen. I do not waste your pain. I use it to shape you into someone strong enough to hold the blessings when they come. There are things I do not explain right away, because if you understood too soon, you would no longer need faith. Yet it is faith that is the key, opening the door to every miracle. Do not measure your worth by what others think. The world may see only your cracks, but I see the light shining through them. The world may see failure, but I see endurance. The world sees you losing, but I see you learning to let go. Every event in your life, even the smallest, lies within my hands. And if you believe, I will make all things good and bad work together for your good. That is not a theory, it is a promise that has never been broken. When you choose to live according to my ways, you will see the world slowly change its colors. The gray will turn to silver, and in the darkness the dawn will begin to break. You will no longer feel you must strain just to survive, because grace will sustain each breath. Your mind will gradually grow still, your body lighter, your soul more open. Then the things that once terrified you will become small. Those who once wounded you will no longer hold power over your emotions. Painful memories will gradually turn into testimonies of my kindness. You once asked me, why do I have to endure so much? And I answered, because through you, I want the world to see that nothing is too ruined to be restored. Your life will become a song of rebirth. Others will look at you and see a story they themselves need, the story of a soul that dared to turn back, dared to believe, dared to live again. And in their eyes, I will be glorified. Not because you are perfect, but because you allowed me to finish what I began in you. Remember, restoration is not going back to what was, but becoming new in a better way. A piece of pottery, once broken, can be mended with gold, and it is the very cracks that create its unique worth. So it is with you. The fractures in your life, when touched by me, become the places that reflect my glory. Your wounds do not make you ugly, they make you real. And that very truth, though rough and unpolished, is what sets you free. I know there will be days when your heart grows weak and you want to return to your old ways. Do not condemn yourself. Each step forward does not need to be perfect. It only needs to be honest. Whenever you stumble, stand up and say, I still want to keep going. I will take your hand and lead you through. Grace does not count how many times you fall. It only looks at the direction in which you are headed. So turn toward the light, even if it is only a faint flicker. For where there is light, darkness cannot remain for long. If you have ever feared that you have gone too far, remember this. No distance is so great that I cannot reach you. Even if you are at the very bottom of the pit, I can still come there, not to accuse you, but to carry you out. No sin is greater than my love. No mistake can make me change my mind about you. Every soul I create has infinite value, not because of what it does, but because of who it is that made it. You are that workmanship, and I never discard my own creation. All this time, you have been living under the pressure of having to be worthy, of having to be good enough. But my love has never once been conditional. You do not have to do anything to be loved. You only have to allow yourself to be loved. And when you truly believe this, you will stop chasing the approval of others, because you already have it fully in me. That is true freedom, not living to please, but living to glorify. When you no longer strive to become someone else, you will become yourself in the most beautiful image I have prepared for you. Look around you. Everything I have created speaks of resurrection. A dry tree that seems dead will sprout green shoots again when the rain comes. A night that feels endless will vanish the moment a single ray of light appears. A person who seems to have lost everything can begin again when they know how to bow their head. I work according to that law. From ashes I bring forth beauty, and in you that is happening even now, though you may not yet see it. Do not doubt the process, for I have never abandoned anything I have begun. There will come a day when you look back on the road you have traveled and realize that every pain led you to one point, the place where you met me again. In that moment, you will no longer ask, why? But quietly whisper, thank you. Thank you for not letting me sink forever into meaninglessness. Thank you for loving me enough to awaken me. Thank you for not abandoning me when I had abandoned myself. And in the tears that fall, you will see light reflected, the light of a soul that has been reborn. Do not hesitate any longer. This moment is not just a fleeting instant. It is the threshold between old and new, between fear and trust, between death and life. Step forward, not because you are certain, but because you believe. And as you walk, I will make the ground beneath your feet firm. The storm may rise, but your heart will not be shaken. The road may be long, but you will not be alone. For I, the living God, am walking with you every step, every breath, every heartbeat. The miracle of restoration is not found in the destination, but in the journey you dare to take. And right now, in this very moment, you are already living in that miracle. You do not need to look for anything more. Keep your heart at peace, for I have chosen you, I have loved you, and I will never leave you. My beloved child, listen very quietly. Every great wonder I have ever done in history began with something small, with a single person willing to obey. No sea was ever parted before Moses raised his staff. No bread was ever multiplied before that child offered up his 5 loaves and 2 fish. No dead man ever came out of the tomb before Martha agreed to have the stone rolled away. Miracles always wait at that place, the place where a heart is willing to believe, to act, and to place its trembling hands into mine. So do not despise small steps. Do not think you are too insignificant to change anything. This vast universe itself began with one command: let there be light, and that light is still shining to this day. One yes from your heart carries a power just like that. I know there are days you wake up exhausted, with no strength left to go on. Sometimes you look into the mirror and no longer recognize the person staring back at you. I understand, for I see you when you force a smile in front of others, and I also see your tears when no one else is there. I hear clearly the words you cannot speak, the sighs that choke in your chest. You have carried too many burdens, the weight of the past, of repeated failures, of the words others have spoken that made you doubt yourself. But my child, I am still here. I have never walked away from any of your battles, even when you were convinced you were fighting alone. If you could see with spiritual eyes, you would know how many times I have walked beside you, when you sat staring at the bills, not knowing how you would make it through, when you stood by a hospital bed begging for a sliver of hope, when you bowed your head in loneliness, afraid to tell anyone how you truly felt. It was in those nights that seemed the emptiest that I was working most. What you perceived as silence was actually me weaving the finest threads into the tapestry of your life. Everything that looked chaotic to you, when seen from my side, fits together into a perfect picture. And even now, as you begin to believe, that picture is growing brighter. Miracles are never a special reward for those who are worthy, for if that were so, no one in all humanity could receive them. Miracles are the gift granted to those who are willing to be humble. It is precisely when you recognize your weakness that I can be strong in you. It is when you stop trying to prove your worth that I am free to lift you up. The world teaches you to be strong, to stand on your own, to be unbreakable like steel. But I teach you the opposite. Be soft, be willing to be weak, be willing to cry, let your hands fall open. Only then can my hands take hold of you. You do not need to fight against the current. You only need to let me carry you back to shore. Sometimes what holds you back is not the fear of failing, but the fear of changing. You have lived in the dark for so long that the light hurts your eyes. You are afraid to leave what is familiar, even though you know it is harming you. You fear letting go of a toxic relationship, fear leaving a job that is draining your spirit, fear speaking words of forgiveness to the one who wounded you. But my child, freedom always begins with a courageous decision. You cannot step into the promised land while clinging to the chains of Egypt. No step can be firm on new ground if your gaze is still turned toward the past. Let me teach you how to leave, not in anger, but in peace. I see the beauty hidden deep within you, the very thing you yourself often fail to notice. I see a kind heart hardened by life, a faith that once burned brightly, now reduced to embers, a child who once overflowed with dreams, now afraid to hope, but I still see. And if you allow me, I will breathe life again into what seems dead. You have thought that it is too late for you, that your chances are gone, but remember, I am not bound by time. When I say, come forth, even after 4 days in the grave, life returns. With me, there is no such thing as too late. A miracle is not merely an event, it is a journey. Every day that you choose to live truthfully, to love, to obey, the miracle grows. It is like a seed pushing its way through hard soil. At first, no one sees anything, but the roots are already spreading deep. When you choose kind words instead of bitterness, when you choose silence instead of retaliation, when you choose prayer instead of anxiety, you are nourishing those roots. And then, one morning, you will see a tender shoot breaking through. Not loud, not dazzling, but steady, resilient, and full of life. Do not let delayed results make you doubt my work. I do not perform miracles according to your timetable, but according to the timing of heaven. Some things require time for your soul to learn humility, for your faith to grow deeper, for your heart to become soft enough for the new thing I am giving. If I were to grant you everything you asked for immediately, you might lose the most precious lesson of all, that you need me more than you need the outcome. Waiting is sometimes itself the miracle, because in the waiting, I am shaping you to become stronger, deeper, and more like me. I hear you say that you have nothing to offer. But my child, you yourself are the most precious offering. When you surrender the little you have, I multiply it many times over. A single drop of your faith can become a river from which others may drink. Every word you speak, every act you do in love carries a power far beyond what you can see. A smile, a moment of patience, a hand reaching out to help, all these can be instruments I use to touch this world. Do not measure your value by what you do, but by the love you pour into it. Remember, the journey of healing is not a competition. You do not need to go faster, do better, or become a model for anyone. You only need to be honest. When you are tired, you may stop. When you are afraid, you may speak. When you are lost, you may ask for direction. I do not count the number of times you fall. I count the number of times you return, and every time you do, I smile. For to me, nothing is more beautiful than the sight of a child who knows how to come home. I also know there are times when you feel unworthy of love. You think you have ruined too many things, missed too many chances, hurt too many people. But I want you to understand, no one is beyond the reach of grace. My love has no conditions and no expiration date. It does not depend on what you do, but on who I am. I love because I am love. When you come back to me, I do not require explanations or self-defense. I only ask that you allow me to hold you. Pause for a moment, take a deep breath, and sense what I am doing. Look around you. The light filtering through the leaves, the warmth of the morning, the heartbeat pulsing in your chest, all of these are proof that I am still here. Every breath is a gift. Every moment is an opportunity. Do you see? The miracle has never left you. You have just been too busy to notice. It is present in the smallest details, in an embrace, in a smile, in that unexplainable peace that occasionally washes over you. That is me. If today you could do only one thing, let it be this: believe that you can be different. No matter how deeply the past has carved its marks into you, no matter how exhausted your soul is from its failures, believe that there is still a way home. No one is ever too far to be saved. No one is ever too late to be changed. Begin from this very moment with a simple prayer, a single grateful breath, a small but sincere decision. Just like that, you are already rewriting your story, not by your own power, but by your faith. There will come a time when you look back and realize that I have done far more than you ever thought. The sufferings that once made you weep will become evidence of my kindness. The wounds that once filled you with shame will become windows through which light pours in. The detours that once made you feel lost will turn out to be the very paths that led you where you needed to go. You will understand that everything I allowed to happen carried meaning. And you will smile, not because everything was easy, but because you know that all things were always held in the hands of a good and loving God. Then you will no longer beg for miracles in the old way. You will stop asking, "When will you act, Lord?" And instead you will whisper, "I am ready for you to act." That difference is the sign of maturity. The greatest miracle is not when I change your circumstances, but when I change your heart. You will no longer chase after the extraordinary outside of you, because you will have discovered the extraordinary within. You yourself will be the living testimony that light can find its way again in the darkness, that a heart which seemed shattered beyond repair can beat once more because of love. And then, as you stand in the midst of life without fear or confusion, you will become a witness for those who are still wandering. You will tell your story, not with lofty theories, but with the very light shining in your eyes. They will see peace in the way you live, and they will realize, if God can transform you, He can transform them too. That is how miracles spread, from one healed soul to many awakened hearts. Now, I ask you only one thing: stop doubting yourself. Believe that I am at work even when you cannot yet see it. Believe that this life is still worth living, that there is still hope for what you thought was lost. Every new morning is a message that I still trust you. Though you have failed, though you have fallen, I still choose you to carry on the story of grace. Tomorrow may still hold many challenges, but you will not be the same. Because now you know you are no longer alone. You have me, and I am enough for you. When you are weak, I am strong. When you are afraid, I calm your heart. When you lose your way, I am your compass. When you wander in the dark, I am your lamp. Nothing in this life can separate you from this love. Not sickness, not poverty, not failure, not even sin. My love is stronger than all of it. So live. Live honestly. Live fully. Live as one who has been given another chance. Let every breath be a word of gratitude. Let every day be a miracle. And when you choose to live like that, you do not only change yourself, you begin to change the world around you. For once light begins to spread, it never returns to darkness. The miracle has already begun, my beloved child. It is not far away, not waiting in some distant tomorrow. It is here in this very moment, in the heart that still beats within you, in the faith that is quietly unfolding, in the whisper in which I keep saying to you, you are worthy, your life is worthy. The plans I have for you are worthy, my beloved child. When the long days pass and you feel your heart grow weary because the future has not yet opened before you, I want you to stop and listen. Do not rush to look too far ahead, because what you need is not at the horizon but right here in the present. There are seasons of life that arrive without warning, slipping in as softly as the morning dew, carrying challenges that leave you overwhelmed. But, my child, everything that happens is under my permission. Not a single grain of dust falls outside my hand. You are walking a journey shaped by a deeper plan, a story you will only understand when you have gone to the very end. And then, you will see why I chose each winding road for you. I do not promise that you will never have to cry, but I promise that every tear will be gathered by me, and every cold wind you endure will become a testimony to your faith. The future, for you, is a blurry painting. You try to color it in, to define it, to guess its shades. But for me, the future is already complete, drawn with the light of love and good intention. You are simply walking through that painting, step by step, in the rhythm I have set. Do not be afraid when you cannot see the whole path, for the light I give is enough for each day. You do not need to see the entire road, you only need to see the next step, and I will be there. Each morning, when you wake, I write a new passage, and if you trust me, you will realize that every small detail carries meaning, even the things that seem too insignificant to remember. There are days when you wake up with a vague anxiety, not even knowing why your heart is so heavy. You worry about your work, your health, your loved ones, the things that have not yet come to pass. If you do not stop it, that anxiety will seep into every cell, every breath, leaving you with no strength to live the fullness of this day. I want you to understand this. Worry is a story you tell yourself about a future without me. It whispers, what if he doesn't come in time? But, my child, I have never once been late in all of human history, and I will not be late in your life. I come at the right time, not earlier, not later, for I am time itself. I do not simply control time. I am the very time that passes. Every moment of your life flows within my hand. You have looked back and seen how many times you thought you would not survive, and yet you are still standing. How many times you believed every door was closed, and quietly I opened another way, just enough for you to pass through. Do you see? I have never abandoned you, not even when you abandoned yourself. Do you remember when you prayed and felt no answer? You thought I was silent, but I was working behind the scenes. Like a blacksmith heating metal in the fire, I let you pass through the flames not to burn you, but to refine you. When the fire dies down, you will find yourself brighter, stronger, and resilient enough for what awaits you next. I do not blame you for being afraid. I understand you are learning how to trust in the dark. Faith is not the absence of fear. It is clinging to me, even while fear still remains. In the deep waters, in the fierce wind, if you can only cry out, Lord, save me, I will immediately stretch out my hand. You may not feel me, but I am always there, never farther away than the space between two heartbeats. And when you know I am still there, your fear will dissolve like mist under the morning sun. Learn to lift your gaze instead of hanging your head. When your eyes look up, you will see a sky wider than your worries, and you will see me enthroned above it all. I command the sun to rise each morning, set a boundary the sea cannot cross, and tell the wind where to stop. If I can govern the universe, do you not think I can guide your path? Whenever you are afraid, look up, not to escape reality, but to remember who holds authority over that reality. You do not need to manage tomorrow, because tomorrow still rests in my hand, waiting for the moment I unfold it. There are things you have been waiting for so long that you think I have forgotten. But I have never forgotten. While you are waiting, I am preparing. While you are weary from the delay, I am arranging pieces you cannot yet see. Every prayer you have prayed, even if it was just a sigh, I have recorded. Not a single sound has vanished into emptiness. All of them are being sown into the field of my time. At the appointed day, they will bloom. And then you will understand that the waiting was never pointless, for it taught you how to trust, how to be patient, and how to recognize me in the days that seemed silent. I want you to know that worry is not the inheritance I leave you. Your true inheritance is peace. Peace does not mean the absence of storms. It means my presence in the midst of them. Peace does not come from having everything resolved, but from knowing that no matter what happens, you are still held in my hand. This peace cannot be found in the world, cannot be bought with money, cannot be measured by success. It comes only when you say, Lord, I surrender, and then I pour into your heart a stillness beyond words. Let me tell you a small story. Once, my disciples were afraid because they had forgotten to bring bread. They had just witnessed the miracle of the loaves, where I provided more than enough, and yet only a short time later, they were anxious about going hungry. They forgot that yesterday's miracle still holds power today. You are like that too. You have seen my provision many times, but when the next worry arrives, you doubt again. Remember that I do not change. If yesterday I fed you, today I will feed you still. If yesterday I made a way, today I am still able to do the same. Miracles do not wear out with time, because I do not grow old, I do not grow weak. When you walk in my peace, you will see your life differently. The peace I give will let you see everything with new eyes. You will no longer fear losing, because you know that whatever truly belongs to you cannot be lost, and whatever is lost was no longer needed. You will no longer feel the need to fight and grasp, because you know your reward is not in the hands of others but in mine. You will stop comparing, stop envying, stop tormenting yourself. You will realize you do not have to be enough to be loved, because my love is not based on your worthiness. It is based on me, the one who never changes. I see every dream you have buried, every hope left unfinished, every plan you folded away because you were afraid to fail. I know you once held beautiful desires, but life taught you to close your heart. I understand, yet I want to tell you this. What I have placed within you never truly dies. It is only waiting for the warmth of faith to awaken again. Your future has not ended. It is simply being rewritten. And if you place the pen into my hand, I will write something more beautiful than anything you ever imagined. Do not let old failures steal new faith. Do not let old wounds convince you that I can no longer make all things new. I am the one who makes the desert bloom and turns ashes into splendor. Nothing is so broken that I cannot restore it. Nothing is so dead that I cannot call it back to life. You need only to place it in my hands. Whether it is your hope, your love, or your weary heart itself, I will do the rest, and what I restore will always be better than what you had before. You will no longer fear the future when you know that I have gone ahead of you. I am already there, in the years you have not yet lived, on the roads you have not yet walked. I have prepared everything in advance. By the time you arrive, it will all be ready. There is no detour that is a wasted path, for if you stumble, I will use that very fall to teach you what you need to learn. You cannot stray beyond my reach, because I am the very space in which you truly belong. I do not want you to live like someone who is always searching for security. I want you to live as one who knows you are already secure. Faith is not closing your eyes and stepping into the void. It is opening your eyes to see the guidance within the unseen. Each day, when you choose to trust instead of fear, you are cooperating with me in the work of your own life. That cooperation does not need noise, does not need grand gestures. It only needs a heart that knows how to surrender. And when you can do that, you will realize miracles are no longer something you are waiting for, but something you are already living in. Peace becomes your rhythm, trust becomes your very breath, and gratitude becomes your song. You will no longer run ahead in fear, but walk unhurried in the light. Even when one door closes, you will still smile, because you know another door is being opened. Even when storms rise, you will stand firm, because you know beneath your feet is solid rock. The future is not something you must conquer, but a gift you will receive when you learn to trust. And on that journey, I will not only lead the way, I will transform you from within. You will learn to see everything through my eyes, no longer seeing failure but a process, no longer seeing loss but a passing on, no longer seeing tempests but opportunities for me to reveal my power. Then, one day, you will look back and smile. You will see that every worry, every tear, every sleepless night has become a testimony that I never left you. You will understand that faith is never foolish, and peace is never a luxury. All of it is real, all of it can be touched, if you allow me to be the one who holds your future. So do not be afraid of tomorrow anymore. Tomorrow is already in my hands. You only need to live this day fully, with faith and with peace. For every morning you wake up is not just another new day, but proof that the plan I have for you is still unfolding. The sun still rises, my heart still loves, and you are still the most precious part of the story. I am writing a story without a final full stop, because it is written with the never-ending love of God. Now, let your heart grow quiet, like still waters after the wind has passed. Open your heart wide and lift up to me the most honest prayers. You have words that do not need to be ornate, only true. Father, I come before you with a soul still covered in dust. I can hide nothing from you, for you have seen it all, every scratch upon my heart, every tear that has already dried. I ask that you touch the deepest place within me, the place where I have tried to bury my fears, the place where my soul is longing to be healed. Please grant me the grace and courage to face myself, to no longer run away from your calling. Teach me to let go of what has passed, of old wounds long carried, and let this heart find rest in your arms. Lord Jesus, you who have passed through every suffering to teach me what faith truly is, please teach me how to believe even when I cannot see the way. I do not ask you to calm every storm. I only ask that you grant me your peace in the midst of the tempest. Help me to stop fixing my eyes on what I have lost, so I may see what you are still preserving. Teach me not to panic when the seas grow rough, because I know you are still walking on the waters, drawing near to me. If my feet begin to tremble, please take my hand, for I know that with just a touch from you, every fear must retreat. Gentle Holy Spirit, breath of life, please come and surround me with the stillness that comes from heaven. I am weary from striving, exhausted from constant calculations, worn out from worrying. Now, I want to learn how to rest in you. Please sweep away the noise of this world so that I may hear your voice within. Teach me to pause when my soul begins to crack, to kneel when my mind is no longer clear, to weep when my heart needs to be healed. I only want to remain in your presence where peace cannot be stolen, where I can truly be myself, small yet safe in the arms of the Lord. Creator of all things, you who hold the rhythm of the universe, I offer up to you all that I do not yet understand. There are losses that leave me speechless, and broken places where I no longer have the strength to pray. Yet in the silence, I know you are still there. Please help me believe that everything that happens has a purpose, and that even through my mistakes, you can still write something good. Turn my fear into faith, my tears into praise, and the things that seem like endings into new beginnings. For I know that when you are the author, the story never ends in despair. Heavenly Father, shepherd of my soul, when I find myself lost among so many choices, please give me eyes that seek your will first. There are times I choose the easy path and forget that obedience is what pleases you most. Please do not let me place my trust in people, possessions, or success. Help me to cling to you alone. Even if I must walk the narrow road, as long as I walk with you, I choose not to be afraid. For the blessing is not found at the destination, but in the journey of walking with the one who leads. Loving God, I thank you for everything, even the things I do not yet understand. I thank you for the difficult stretches that taught me how to lean on you, for the losses that taught me to cherish what remains, for the rainy days that taught me to love the sunlight. I know that nothing in my life is wasted, because everything rests in your hands. Thank you for every morning I still wake, for every breath I still take, and for the fact that my heart is still able to love. Merciful Father, source of every good gift, I lift up my thanks to you. Thank you for not letting me walk alone, for patiently waiting for me even when I lose my way, for loving me with a love that never diminishes, even when I am weak. Thank you for each small miracle I encounter every day, a friendly smile, a gentle breeze, a word of comfort. All of them are traces of you along this journey. Without you, I would no longer be myself. I offer this prayer in the holy name of Jesus Christ. Amen. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so that together we can build a strong and vibrant community of faith.